Chapter 2273 Boss Second Battle. Brad's game console showed that the NPC's shield value and health bar were rapidly decreasing. The next moment, violent flames exploded on the spot. The mosaic shield in the shield-bearing warrior's hand was completely shattered, his entire body was pierced by the fire spear, and then he was thrown backwards by the remaining force. The earth exploded and flames engulfed everything. The warrior's body also ran out of health and turned into a white rag doll. Foam Booping gasped for breath. This move of his was to buy time for Uncle Yu, hoping that Uncle Yu could break free from his stiff state. He understood why Uncle Yu was in this situation. If the opponent's ability is a game, then Uncle Yu is the boss in the game. In addition to the settings of health bar and shield value, there may naturally be a setting for stiffness. After the boss is attacked to a certain extent, it will be in this state, unable to fight back and can only be attacked by players. It's a pity that Foam Booping's ability can only take away one shield-bearing warrior. He can't stop the concentrated attack of the remaining dozens of white warriors on Uncle Yu. Foam Booping's eyes almost popped out of his head due to anxiety. Mr. Lu Wu. Before he finished speaking, all the attacks were directed at Uncle Yu at the same time. On Brad's game console, there is a two-dimensional image of a character similar to Uncle Yu, who has many weaknesses. The shield value was finally reduced to 0 after repeated attacks, and those red weaknesses were concentrated again and again by the soldiers he controlled, causing double damage. Crack, crack, crack. Sharp weapons penetrated through the gaps in the armor and pierced deeply into Uncle Yu's torso. The spear penetrated deeply, and the entire spear head was completely immersed in Uncle Yu's body. More than a dozen weapons almost turned Uncle Yu into a hedgehog. When Foam Booping saw this scene, his heart sank. Even if a god came, he would die on the spot under such an attack. He didn't expect this to be the outcome. Brad laughed heartily because he saw that the health bar of the big boss Uncle Yu was constantly decreasing. And the blood bar is quickly emptied and returns to 0. Resetting to 0 means game over. He has successfully killed the boss and won the game. Game over. Brad raised his head proudly and looked forward. Uncle Yu's body was stiff in place, pierced by many weapons, and seemed to have lost all life. Foam Booping was shocked and confused, not knowing what to do. Just when Brad was happy, the prompt sound of the game console suddenly rang in his ears. The game over prompt did not come, but the game's BGM changed. The boss figure whose health bar had been emptied in the screen suddenly stood up again, and his health bar was full again. What? Brad's pupils shrank to the size of soybeans, not knowing what was going on. Obviously, the game system shows that he is dead. Huh. A scornful laugh was heard, and Brad raised his head in horror and looked forward. He saw the human whose body was pierced by many sharp blades slowly raised his head and looked at him with a sneer. I'm so sorry, I haven't been human for a long time. The body is penetrated? So what? Uncle Yu's bones, blood vessels, and even internal organs have been modified, and now only 30% of his body structure is human. It mainly consists of the brain, skin, some blood, and the basic configuration of male organisms. Even if other parts are damaged, it will not be fatal. The vital point is his head. But there are no gaps in the head armor for the weapon to penetrate. Besides, the armor of a higher demon god is no joke. Uncle Yu's stiffness was lifted, and the gray bar above his head representing the stiffness reappeared. This time, he opened all the weapon launch ports on his body. Almost all the white warriors surrounded him to kill him, so Uncle Yu could indulge in unleashing the maximum power of his weapons. The muzzle of the gun was aimed in all directions, the energy core furnace was running at 100%, and then it instantly exploded along the pipes in his bones. Boo! Uncle Yu's body suddenly became transparent. It was a visual phenomenon caused by the light waves caused by the instantaneous burst of huge energy. He seemed to have melted. One could clearly see the terrifying energy flowing in his body and then bursting out. It was like a nuclear bomb exploding on the spot, and the dozens of white warriors surrounding Uncle Yu were the first to bear this wave of ruthless attack. Foam Booping's pupils shrank, and he quickly distanced himself from Uncle Yu, fearing that he would be affected. After he flew a long way, He turned around and felt the scorching airwaves hitting his body, forcing him to raise his hands to block the strong light in front of him. A huge white energy beam shot up into the sky, and an incomparably large mushroom cloud rose into the sky, reaching a height of 10,000 meters. The terrifying level of its energy far exceeds that of a chariot-level mutant. Instead, he reached the bishop level with an ability index of 30,000 plus. I'm not a particularly gifted inhuman. Originally, I was only at the gamma level. It's only with Zhang Yi's constant help that I've come this far. Although I have no talent, this suit of armor has given me combat power beyond my limits. The demon armor has a function, overclocking. Zhang Yi had used it many times during battle, which meant overloading the mecha and risking physical damage to increase the energy output frequency beyond the limit. Zhang Yi had witnessed the power of this ability when he fought against the demon god of the Songyuan clan. Uncle Yu, who has the energy level of the Black Chariot, can instantly unleash a bishop-level attack when overclocked. One hit, but it is enough to form a killer weapon and completely turn the tide of the battle. What Feng Buping didn't know was why Yang Xinxin arranged for Uncle Yu to work with him to deal with the most difficult Brad. It's because Uncle Yu, hidden in armor, is a super killer. At the center of the explosion, Uncle Yu, wearing armor burning with red flames, walked towards Brad step by step. Feng Buping was stunned when he saw this scene. He couldn't believe that this ordinary uncle, who had been practicing joint attack techniques with him, could actually burst out with such amazing strength. Beside Brad, several puppet dolls fell to the ground and turned into white, motionless puppets. His pupils constricted, and he finally began to feel nervous. Uncle Yu looked at him, still with that simple and honest look, touched the back of his head, and said with a smile, "When it comes to fighting a boss, the second battle is the hardest, right?" That's what Chunlei told me in the past. Chapter 2274. Complete Blockade. No way to escape. In this war, no matter who gets into trouble, nothing will happen to the extraordinary people in Zhang Yi's team. The preparations Zhang Yi made for them were extremely thorough. What preparations did he make for Uncle Yu? A suit of armor made of top-level, upper-level demon materials, second only to his own, and a cyberpunk body transformed for him by the genius mechanic Liu Karen. There is also Feng Buping. That's right, from the very beginning, Feng Buping's task was to help Uncle Yu. In fact, even if Uncle Yu is the only one on the mission, his chances of completing the mission are more than 90%. Uncle Yu lowered his right hand, and his eyes turned sharp as he looked at Brad. Now, let's start the second round of the game. Since we are attacking the boss, we must first clear out the small monsters in front of the boss. So right now, these miscellaneous soldiers need to be dealt with first, and then we can fight Brad. Uncle Yu opened his arms, the energy furnace was burning fiercely, and streams of energy spread along the core of his chest to his entire body, extending to his limbs. A red energy halo wrapped around his entire body. A powerful energy wave distorted the light. By Brad's side, only 7 white warriors were left, holding mosaic weapons to protect him. Brad swallowed his saliva and roared, "Go on, kill him." The 7 white warriors had no fear of death and launched an astonishing attack directly towards Uncle Yu. The shield warriors had all been killed in the first wave, so the only ones left were the assault warriors and shooters. The assaulting soldiers, holding swords and guns, crouched down and rushed towards Uncle Yu, as fast as white lightning. The archers also raised their longbows or gun-like weapons and began to accumulate energy. Boo! The storm of energy was surging, and clusters of terrifying power were condensing on the white warriors' weapons. The radiation of energy alone made Feng Buping in the sky feel considerable pressure. He held the lance in his hand and thought, "I can't fall behind at a time like this." After saying that, he vigorously swung the fire spear in his hand, and at the same time, powerful strange energy surged out from his body, and when it left the acupoints of his body, it transformed into a blazing red lotus flame. The red lotus blossomed violently in the sky, one after another, and then was borrowed by Feng Buping with a gun, condensed on the tip of his gun, and finally turned into a huge red fire dragon, heading straight for the battle formation of the White Warriors. The Red Lotus burns the sky. The flames spread and invaded the earth, as if they were going to burn the city completely to ashes. His powerful attack really had a great impact on the bodies of the White Warriors. The speed of their attack slowed down a lot, and they chose to stop and resist the invasion of the flames first. Uncle Yu had already finished loading the energy shells and pointed his arms at them. His momentum was as if he was holding up two thick red cannon barrels. Emission. Uncle Yu spoke in a calm voice, but his eyes were terrifyingly cold. He seemed to have returned to his youth, the days of killing enemies on the battlefield on the border. Boom! Two energy cannons gushed out from the barrels with a crazy roar. Two red and black energies, containing destructive power, shot directly through the Red Lotus flames and attacked the White Warriors. In an instant, all the White Warriors, along with the attacks from the archers, were completely destroyed by these two energy cannons. There was panic in Brad's eyes. Why would I encounter this kind of monster? Could this be a super mechanical life form left behind by the Tsongyuan clan? The Tsongyuan clan also participated in the trial after the Light Gate, but Pokong was eliminated in the end. However, he brought back a lot of information, including information about the Tsongyuan clan's mechanical civilization. Such powerful technology also fascinated the people of the Wulwan Empire. In fact, they had already started research for half a year. Although they only obtained a little bit of information, their technology has advanced a lot. However, humans' research on the Tsongyuan clan's technology is actually faster than theirs. Brad didn't hesitate at all and instantly dodged the aftermath of Uncle Yu's energy cannon. However, after just one strike, all the guards around him were killed. After those NPCs died, he lost his invincible status and could be attacked. Brad thought about it, then turned around and left the battlefield. After some operation, the game console in his hand turned into a flying skateboard, carrying him away towards the northwest. Uncle Yu and Feng Buping immediately understood what was happening when they saw this. Brad's ability is to control those NPCs to fight, and his own combat ability is not very good. So after his ability was cracked, he could only escape. Mr. Lu Wu, let's chase him. Feng Buping anxiously gripped the fire spear in his hand and was about to chase after him. He can't give up such a great achievement and let the other party get away, etc. Uncle Yu quickly stopped him. But if it's any later, he'll escape, right? Feng Buping was obviously very excited. This was his first time participating in such a large-scale war, so he seemed a little immature and was eager to make a contribution. Uncle Yu looked at him and thought of his comrades who died in the border war that year, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. New recruits like this have the highest death rate in war. Be careful, he might set up an ambush along the way. This is their home turf after all. And that guy seems pretty smart. Supernatural powers are a manifestation of the inner world of supernatural beings. So, generally speaking, people with enhancement-type abilities tend to be more straightforward. The more complex the ability, the more unpredictable the person's inner world is. So, judging from Brad's abilities, this guy must really like to make fun of others and enjoy playing tricks on others. Uncle Yu has been fighting with Zhang Yi for more than 3 years and has seen all kinds of enemies. He was influenced by Zhang Yi and became more cautious. But are we just going to let him escape like this? Wouldn't that mean our mission has failed? Although Feng Buping understood that Uncle Yu was right, he still felt a little indignant. Uncle Yu said to Feng Buping with a meaningful look in his eyes, "On the battlefield, staying alive is the most important thing." Feng Buping has not yet witnessed the cruelty of war. If Uncle Yu hadn't come with him today, he might have died at Brad's hands. Besides, he can't run away. Uncle Yu calmly used the communication equipment to contact Lu Karen in the super battleship above the sky. "Ms. Lu, please help me locate Brad." Chapter 2275, Comprehensive Blockade, Part 2. Lu Karen answered cheerfully, "No problem." Soon, from the sky, the super battleship accurately located Brad and simultaneously gave it to Uncle Yu. After Uncle Yu confirmed the opponent's movement trajectory, the mecha suddenly popped out from his back, revealing 4 chimney-like gun barrels. Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, lock on target. An electronic sound came from Uncle Yu's body. Foam Booping was shocked when he heard this. ICBM? Hey, Uncle, you are not kidding me, right? Today, in 2054, intercontinental ballistic missiles are still one of the most advanced weapons of human civilization. It can carry the death of love warhead and is a dominant weapon for superpowers to achieve global strikes. However, even with the world's most advanced technology, it is difficult to compress an intercontinental ballistic missile to the point where it can be fired from such a small barrel. Uncle Yu had now transformed into a humanoid rocket launcher vehicle, locking onto Brad, who was flying away in the distance. Lock on the target, fire. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The gun barrel behind him made a sound like fireworks, and then 4 missiles gradually shot up into the sky, dragging their white tails. After a brief pause in the air, they flew straight into the distance. At this time, Brad was riding a flying skateboard with mixed feelings in his heart. The news of his comrades' deaths kept coming to his ears, making him gradually realize that the disaster that the Wulwan Empire was facing today was very likely to be at the level of destroying the country. The glory of the past may no longer exist, and his homeland will eventually be destroyed. Above the sky, Grand Marshal Zheng Lu failed to defeat the enemy. The iron curtain of the sky was lifted, and the imperial city was breached. A feeling of despair and powerlessness enveloped Brad's heart. Wherever he passed, there were only broken walls and ruins, and the corpses of lizard men were everywhere. Not a single one was left alive. He felt extremely sad, not only because of the pain brought by the destruction of his country, but also because of the loneliness caused by the impending extinction of his race. He will lose everything he once had. That once glorious race was wiped out by puny humans in a single day. Haha, everything seems like a dream. If they had a choice, they would not have been so eager to launch an attack on human civilization so soon after the end of the world. But it's too late to think about anything now. Fortunately, Brad is not married and has no children. He made up his mind and immediately fled the Wulwan Empire. If Marshal Zheng Lu won, he would come back after hearing the news. Anyway, the Wulwan Empire is now in tatters, and more than 90% of the generals above the rank of silver armor have died in battle. Even if he becomes a deserter now, he can explain it later, and the Wulwan Empire needs his power and will not kill him. Brad had a very clear idea in his mind. However, he suddenly heard several extremely fast sounds of breaking through the air. Brad was prepared for the enemy's pursuit, and he did set up many obstacles on the road, such as bombs with very high energy levels. But no one expected that the sharp sound of breaking through the air actually came from the sky. Brad raised his head and took a look. In just a moment, his pupils began to shake violently. 4 intercontinental ballistic missiles, which looked only the size of an adult's arm, were falling straight towards him at a speed of more than 10 times that of Mach. The intercontinental ballistic missiles after Liu Karen's transformation are far more powerful and faster than the big ones in the arsenals of various countries. Brad's speed was no way to escape their blockade. Seeing that they were about to reach behind him, Brad put his hands together and quickly created a huge white fat man to block behind him. The white fat man was like a white rag doll. In the blink of an eye, he became hundreds of meters tall and was still expanding. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The 4 intercontinental ballistic missiles would not show any mercy to him and swooped down directly. The next moment, it was as if 4 huge suns rose above the shattered city. If the broken city area is like a huge plate, then these 4 golden suns are like 4 neatly arranged 4 happiness meatballs. They don't need to hit Brad's body accurately, they just need to get close to him and then explode at the same time. The powerful force that erupts is enough to destroy everything within a radius of more than 10 kilometers. However, Brad, who has special abilities, does not have such strong defensive capabilities or movement speed to create distance. With this attack, the big white missile he used to resist was instantly shattered, and the aftermath of the 4 intercontinental ballistic missiles submerged it in an instant. It was impossible to tell whether he was dead or not during the explosion. But Uncle Yu used his powerful propulsion device to soar into the sky and said to Foam Booping, "Let's go and finish him off." If Foam Booping didn't have any other special abilities, this blow would be enough to kill him. The two of them then carefully flew high into the sky and chased after Brad. The huge city has been almost razed to the ground. There is no sign of life. Only large areas of ruins remain. In the middle of the city, charred bomb craters are particularly conspicuous. When the two of them chased after him, Uncle Yu turned on the life signs scan and finally found Brad in the ruins. It turned out that after his ability was cracked, he couldn't even withstand the attack of this super bomb. At this time, he was covered with wounds, with green blood flowing out of his body, and he was injecting himself with medicine to relieve his injuries. Uncle Yu and Foam Booping flew above him, looking down at the arrogant silver-armored general of the Wulwan Empire. "It's time to end it." Foam Booping impatiently shot a shot directly downwards. "Call." The powerful red lotus flame gathered into a point on the tip of the gun. The scorching temperature caused the air to twist instantly, and finally it exploded at this point, gushing out violently. Red lotus god-killing fire. The fire dragon roared and dived down instantly, heading towards Brad. Brad looked up at the sky with a fierce look in his eyes and raised one hand high. Pieces of mosaics, like the second dimension invading reality, turned into a huge shield in his hand. Boom! The fire dragon transformed from the red lotus flames slammed heavily onto the shield. The surging flame torrent was diverted along the shield, burning the surrounding area, and red lotus bloomed all over the ground. "What qualifications do you have to act so arrogant in front of me?" Brad said with a sneer. From beginning to end, he didn't even give Foam Booping a glance. What he was really afraid of was the armored cyborg. He is Brad, with an ability index of 26,000 points. If he had met an alien of Foam Booping's level in the past, he could have easily killed him in 10 seconds at most. So even though he was in danger today, he disdained the other party's arrogance. "You." Foam Booping gritted his teeth in anger, but he really couldn't resist. The gap in strength is huge, and he is really not qualified to challenge Brad. Uncle Yu calmly raised his arm and aimed the hand cannon in his palm at Brad. "No nonsense." Because Zhang Yi said that villains die because they talk too much. If you want to abuse the fountain, it is best to dance in front of the enemy's corpse. Therefore, it was just a plain energy cannon, like a pillar from heaven falling down. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.